Today I want to show you how I process high ISO images. Now I've put a couple of images up in recent videos that have been shot at really quite high ISOs, up to 12,800, and I've had a few questions about how I got the images to that standard to put into the video. People thinking really that they weren't shot at that high ISO. So today I'm going to give you my method of processing and the software that I use. But firstly I want to show you a product that was been sent to me that you also might find quite useful. So let's take a look at that first. Now recently Benq sent me a Screen-Bar Plus to take a look at, and I was quite interested in looking at it for a couple of reasons. One, I actually have a Benq screen, although this product is not simply for Benq screens. You can use it with multiple different types of screen. But also because I tend to do a lot of my image processing late at night in fairly dark surroundings, and I spend a lot of my time looking at a really bright screen, and it does lead to me getting really tired eyes, and I just wondered whether having this screen bar would make any difference to that. Now I've had this now for a number of months, so I wanted to give it a really good trial, and what I've found is, to be honest, it does make quite a significant difference to the amount of time that I can edit without getting sore and tired eyes. Now the reason for that is, if you don't know what this does, it's a light that sits on top of your screen in a bar, as the description suggests, and what it does, it creates, like, I would call it a halo of light around your screen, a halo of soft light if you like. Now if you can imagine, if you're editing photos and looking at a bright rectangle of screen for hours and hours, it does make your eyes quite tired, and I was looking for something really that potentially would help me to sort of edit for longer without getting that. So I've given this a try, and I've actually found it does make a difference. I'm finding I'm able to work longer and not get such tired and sore eyes. It's got a load of features on this product that I'm not going to go into in this video, but basically you can change the temperature, so you can have a brighter, whiter light, or a more calming sort of golden light coming from the bar. You can customize it to your own requirements really. And what I also find is useful, it does provide me with a nice bright desk to work on as well, so I don't have to have an extra desk light or anything like that. It's just a beautiful light on my desk to do some work from as well. So anyway, if you're interested in that product, I will put a link in the description below. So yeah, a really useful product. So let's get on to the main part of this video and how I process raw images actually that have got really high ISO levels and consequently can have a lot of noise. Well, it's quite simple really. It's a bit of software, and that software that I use is DxO Pureraw. Now I've used many different types of raw processor and sort of noise reduction software in the past. A lot of the time it's actually inbuilt into your image processing software like Lightroom or Photoshop, or the one I'm using now, Affinity Photo. And to be honest, in the past I've found that they are not very successful in getting rid of the noise, to be honest. And what I've found is that I'm throwing away loads of images, and I start to not even attempt to recover images that are over a certain ISO. And it wasn't until I saw another photographer using DxO Pureraw and looking at his images, I thought, well, I'll give it a go. So anyway, what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring the interface up now and just show you how easy it is to use. I'll process an image so that you can have a look and see what you think. And yeah, we'll see what we like about it or don't like. Right, so as you can see here, this is my desktop, and over here we've got the DxO Pureraw icon. So if I double click on that, now first I've got to find what image I want to process. So as you can see, this is the interface, and basically all you're doing is adding photos just here. So if I double click on that, it'll take me into my folders. Let's have a look. Double click on the image and it brings it into your software. Very noisy image at ISO 8000. Anyway, once you've clicked on the image there, all you do is go up to the process photos. Now this gives you a number of options. To be honest, I only ever use Deep Prime, which is the sort of most comprehensive, if you like. This is the one that takes the longest. So I mean, it might be for you if you're doing, you can obviously put as many photos as you want in here. So if you're doing 100 photos, you might just want to do a quicker processing that's going to be good enough for you, which only takes 31 seconds. The prime, which is obviously sort of the middle of the road, that takes 2 minutes per image. And it's about 6 minutes for this image here, which obviously I've taken this with my Sony a7R III, which is a 42 megapixel image. So if your images are smaller, the processing time should be less. So as I say, the most comprehensive deep prime, which I normally use, and that's what it defaults to. Then you've got a DNG file or a JPEG file. Again, I always use DNG because that's the higher quality. But if you're ever unsure, you can just go to any of these question marks and it will give you a full description of what's what. And then where do you want to take it to? And then basically you process the image. Click on process and it will immediately, the image goes dark, and then there'll be a bar at the bottom here and it says how long it's got to process the image. It says about 5 minutes remaining here. So what I'll do, I'll come out of this and I'll let you see what happens next, and we'll move it along from there. Right, so that's the processing completed, as you can see here, and it comes up with this screen. Now, as DxO Pureraw is a standalone piece of software, you can basically set up where you want it to be sent to. So obviously you've got all your options here: Adobe Lightroom, Photoshop, Elements, etc., or a custom piece of software. Mine's set to Affinity because that's the software that I use. So if I just cancel that and come out of there, you will have seen on there you can also check what your file looks like before you send it across to some software. So if we go up to here, you can also get into that by right clicking on your image and then click on the compare processing results. Now, as you can see, you've probably got a better look at the image here than originally you did. Give it a little bit of time to just show you the difference, and it's processing the image now just to give you that preview. Again, you probably can't see very well at this sort of size, but you can zoom in. I mean, I think you can see up here there's a difference with the noise, but if we zoom in and probably focus on the fox, actually, there's a clear difference. On the left obviously is the unprocessed image with all this noise, as you can see, these reds and this whatever into the image here and into the fox, and on this side it's completely gone. Now, I think, you know, I'd be a fool if I didn't think that you lose a little bit of detail, you do in certain areas, but bearing in mind how zoomed in this is, this for me is a really impressive result. And don't forget, I'm also going to be processing this in Affinity Photo. And the last thing I'll do is sharpening, which will bring back some of this sharpness and some of this detail depending on where I'm going to be posting the image to. So anyway, I hope you can see that there's a clear difference there. Okay, so if we zoom out of that and close that down, and then what I would do is again right click on here, export to application. That's set up for my default. Export it into Affinity, and immediately it brings Affinity Photo up, and as you can see it's still working on it, bringing it into here. Just give that a couple of seconds and that image should come up. There we go, and there we are. Now again, I don't really want to go through a full processing on Affinity Photo, but I mean, just show you what I would originally do to this image. So for me, this image, say I was going to put it on Instagram, I might do a 1:1 crop. Bearing in mind this is a 42 megapixel file, so I can be quite aggressive with the crop that I use on here. So I might just want to do something like that. And there you go, that's the image. And then obviously I can do all my other edits. This is the raw editing stage, so there's certain things I can do in here, increase the brightness or whatever, or even increase the exposure just to bring out, I don't want to take it too far. But as I say, I won't go into all this on here. If there is an appetite for me to show you my processing that I do in Affinity Photo, then please do let me know in the comments below. And obviously what I would then do is hit the develop button when I'd finish my edits in here, and then I could get on to my edits in the the full software, if you like, so layers and things like that. Right, I hope that little preview of DxO Pureraw has been useful for you. As I say, I had quite a few questions about images that I'd posted recently on my videos that were quite high ISO, and as I say, that's the software that I've been using. The reasons I like it is, as a photographer, you know, my time is precious and I want it to be out in the field taking images rather than spending hours and hours trying to get rid of noise in images. For me, that program is quite revolutionary. It means I've got as little involvement as possible. I just stick it in there, press a button, it processes it, and it gives me fantastic results, and I don't have to do anything else, and I can then take it into Affinity Photo and do all my normal edits that I do, and, you know, get the image that I want out in the end for the media that I'm using that image for. So absolutely fantastic. If you're interested in that screen-bar like that I showed you at the beginning of the video, again, that's something that for me, I didn't want to just get it and have it for a week and sort of say, yeah, this is great. I really wanted to try and test it and see if I could get some anecdotal evidence, if you like, from myself using it over the sort of dark winter nights, doing lots and lots of image processing. And I have really found that it's eased the pressure on my eyes, and I've not had as much eye strain and as much eye tiredness, which is a big bonus. And as I say, it also lights the desk up really well. So if you're interested in that, I will put a link in the description below. Other than that, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please let me know if you want to see any processing videos. As I say, that can always be arranged. Other than that, I'll see you next week for another video. Thanks for watching this one. Please give it a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next week. Bye.